Sonia Sotomayor set to begin her confirmation hearings. Pete Williams at the Justice Department. He's NBC's Justice correspondent. Has the setup. Hi, Pete.
Dylan, good morning. We have a pretty good idea of how these hearings are going to unfold. She'll make her opening statement on Monday, take questions Tuesday, possibly Wednesday as well, and then on Thursday, probably outside witnesses for and against. For her, we'll hear from Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, Robert Morgenthau, the longtime district attorney there in New York, her former boss when she was a prosecutor. And we learned that among the witnesses against her will be 2 firefighters from New Haven, Connecticut. They sued the city for reverse discrimination when New Haven threw out a test for promotion in which the black firefighters didn't do as well. The white firefighters would have gotten promoted. She joined a court decision in favor of the city, but that was overturned by the Supreme Court. 2 of those firefighters will appear toward the end of her hearing to testify. Of course, the Democrats have the vote. She's likely to be confirmed. The Republicans will use it as what they call a teaching moment to try to show the difference between the kind of nominees they would have and the kind of nominees Democrats would have, Dylan.
All right. Pete, thank you very much. I want to bring John Ferry into the conversation. He's a Republican strategist who served as a communications director for Dennis Hastert when he was House Speaker, also Congressman Tom DeLay. John, welcome to the meeting. Jonathan Capehart back at the meeting, and delightfully so. Nice to see you. Good morning, Jonathan. Maria Teresa Kumar back at the meeting as well. Nice to see you. I'm going to begin, John, with you. What's the Republican strategy coming into these hearings?
Well, I think the Republican strategy is to maximize the pressure on moderate Democrats, make their vote for her to be as difficult as possible. I think they want to be respectful with her. They don't want to alienate Hispanic voters, but they want to raise important questions, especially on the New Haven firefighter case, but also on the Second Amendment gun control issues. And finally, Mitch McConnell yesterday raised some issues on the First Amendment and political contributions, which is obviously near and dear to his heart. Yeah. So I think that the strategy here is maximize the pressure on moderate Democrats.
Maria, the Republicans walked a tightrope with immigration, have strong views, but also don't want to alienate the Latino voting bloc. You have organized and represent meaningful portions of that voting bloc. How far can Republicans go in going after Sotomayor next week without alienating that portion of the population going into 2010?
Well, I think in the beginning of the conversation with Sotomayor, the Republicans actually went for the jugular, and then they realized that they actually had to back away. And they had to back away because not only because of the 15% of folks that are Latino voters, but the 50% of them who are women.
Right.
And so I'm trying to figure out what the Republican strategy is.
So what's the so it's not just the Latino vote; it's the female vote. How do you manage for that? John?
You know what? That's a good question. I think that's why you have to be very respectful in your questioning. I think also you have to raise other issues, especially the New Haven firefighter case, the reverse discrimination case. There's a lot of legal questions there. I think that's one of those issues that really can cut for Republicans. And ultimately, you have to be respectful in your question. You can't call her racist or things like that.
I think regarding the New Haven case, what we found was actually there were 2 Hispanics that went against that joined the white firefighters. So she was literally talking to the law. What the Supreme Court did last week is they changed the law and they made modifications, which is their complete right to do. And I think that's where we need to be clear.
Jonathan, you're saying?
And that's a very good point that Maria Teresa raised. 2 of the firefighters who passed the test and who could have been promoted were Hispanic. And there was a talking point last week or the week before, a Republican talking point where they were saying, she's using her Latina heritage as a way of exacting punishment on those white firefighters. And we have to remind people time and time again that if she were such a proud Latino, would she have sided with the city in denying those 2 Latino firefighters their promotion? It's a ridiculous argument, and they should be questioning her on law and her beliefs in the law, and not on, I would say, frivolous arguments.
Is it me, Jonathan, or do we find ourselves in a lot of ridiculous arguments when we start dealing with Congress these days? Anyway.